Headshot.
Oh. Art class, guys? Subway?
Today we have Derrick, who is a content creator and a Team USA Taekwondo athlete, and he's going to the Summer World University Games. And he always has a lot of puns. I remember I was a big fan of his TikTok content back in the beginning of 2020. The different types of woes. The Kiyo, whoa, Chuo, Muso, whoa. So in Open Up, we do different types of stretches. I'm gonna show you a stretch and you're gonna try the stretch. Sometimes we'll just stretch and then talk. Sometimes I'll have you do the stretch or exercise while talking.
Wait, have I ever shown you this? My hips are so messed up. You can hear the...
Oh my god.
No, like go, go, go.
Ow! I have a question about your outfit. Is this what you usually wear for like Taekwondo training?
This is what I wear to train. Because my legs jiggle.
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds.
Oh,
so it kind of holds it when I move. And when I put my leg up, you don't feel that jiggle.
I don't know anything about Taekwondo. Martial art is literally like what gymnastics as a whole is, like a big like...
And I think a lot of people don't know. Like, oh my god, you're the karate guy!
You're the karate guy!
Huh?
No.
Like historically and culturally, all these martial arts come from different cultures. So karate is Japanese, Taekwondo is Korean, Kung Fu from China. So they say like, oh, are you the karate guy? Oh, you do Kung Fu. I feel like it's a little bit like going to like a random dude and be like, oh, 안녕하세요. Right? So that's how I feel sometimes. I'm like, what do you say? Like, actually, I do Taekwondo.
We're just gonna do crisscrosses,
okay.
And whenever you're tied with the crisscrosses, you can do arm circles and front circles. When did you start Taekwondo?
My dad is a Taekwondo master. So when I was born, he took my leg and had me kick his hand. So I came out of the womb kicking, literally.
Like just as a kid, he just like...
As a kid, he was like, oh my god, my child, fight. So ever since I was little, so I grew up in the Taekwondo dojo. So I grew up in the dojo. I didn't do it for a while because I was actually really scared. Like I was a little baby. I started around 5 years old. People start around that age. For a Taekwondo like master son, that's pretty late because most people start like when they're 3 or like something like that, as early as possible. But I was scared. I would go and cry.
Were you just scared of like just the fighting?
I had a lot of anxiety as a kid. Like I had like social anxiety. I had a lot of fear. By the time I started going to school, like kindergarten and stuff like that, I was able to start. Like usually people that are born into it, they'll start as soon as they walk. Okay. You know, for me, it was actually my entire world. You know, I spent my entire day there. Everyone I knew did it. It wasn't even out of the question. It was just like, I'm gonna do it.
I'm just gonna do it. I'm born to do it.
Yeah, and then as I was doing it growing up, you know, it's like go to school. Like, why do I go to school? You kind of do, but some people like it, you know? Like, as a kid, I kind of just followed the routine and I had a good time. So.
For me, my mom was also like a rhythmic gymnast, but she didn't really recommend it for me. Like, she was like, always like, oh, it's just for fun and games, but like, I don't really want you to be competitive. It's a lot. Like, you lose your childhood. Like, you're not gonna be able to play with your friends. Are you okay with that? And I was like, yeah, I just want to do rhythmic gymnastics.
You and I are not the same. As a kid, I actually really liked everything that my friends were doing. And I grew up in a very like normal suburb. So a lot of people play like baseball, soccer. And my parents would like kind of like trick me. They'd be like, oh yeah, you have the illusion of choice. Right? But they would take me to like a soccer game. Deep down in the heart, they're like, oh, he's not gonna do this seriously. And I really wanted to like join a soccer team or something. But you know, on the day of the game or like on those days where you like have to be a little committed or like team socials, no, I'd be at the Taekwondo. But I didn't know. I was a little bit manipulated, a little bit. a little bit of Taekwondo.
A little bit. Okay, we're gonna do some neck circles now. So what made you like just stay continuing doing Taekwondo?
Actually, it was my parents' livelihood. It's their business. Even if I were to quit competing, I would still be involved teaching. I used to do that after school. Have you seen those buses after school where they pick up the kids? I would drive that, you know?
Oh, you drive that.
I would go pick up the kids and I would like change my hat, work at the front desk, right? Then I would like change my hat, janitor, and I would like artless tutor, right?
Child labor.
Yeah, you know like I was that guy. Like okay, art class, guys. And then I would go get on my pole, Taekwondo time, and then like clock out. Like, so you know, I was there beyond full time,
Just
lifetime.
everyday life.
So there's not really a way out of it.
You're just stuck in there.
And you know, it wasn't really that bad for a while because I was also homeschooled there.
Oh.
From 5th grade to sophomore year high school.
Whoa, really?
So
damn, you got great social skills then. What?
Me?
Yeah, you got better social skills than me.
That is a lie. That is a lie.
You're like homeschool kids or just like at home?
No, I was like this kind of homeschool kid. Yeah. Hello. Like.
I'm still that kid.
You don't really know anything else, so there's nothing to compare it to. So
you're just like, okay,
like you can't really have a problem, right? This is it. It is what it is.
Oh, you liked it if you continued to do it.
All my friends came from their school, and after we were done with school, we'd all come together. They would do all the homework. I would just like read, and then we just play, you know. So it was a good time. Like especially as a kid, it was actually a really good experience. You know, I never had to go through like getting bullied or any of that. She was the bully.
I was actually a bully.
It's not surprising.
I was a bully in like 1st grade.
I see it right now.
When my other like friends joined, and I was like, because I was very competitive. Like I wanted to be the best. I didn't want to just play around.
Real.
I didn't want to just play around, and they would all play around and made me so frustrated. I was like, why don't you want to try?
Shut up.
Yeah, that's what I did. And they're talking, I'm like, if you're talking, my mom was a coach, so I was like, if you're talking, you're gonna get in trouble.
Oh.
And then they did talk and get in trouble, and I was like, see, I told you. I was so sassy. I was so sassy.
When I did Taekwondo, I was like, isn't this everyone's life?
Yeah, it's everyone's life.
You know?
Because you're in this small bubble and we don't know anything other than
I didn't know anything. So
I was like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing with your life?
Exactly.
What are you doing with your life?
That is so real. Maybe I was the bully all along. Maybe the bully was right behind me.
Alright, you're gonna have your hands together.
Oh no.
And then you're gonna try. How flexible is your shoulder? Oh, this is actually really good. Because usually I see them like right here. Can you explain to me the difference between other martial arts versus Taekwondo?
So basically, in different martial arts. You can just see in the styles. Taekwondo has a lot of like hand-foot combinations. So a lot of kicking. There's a lot of differences within Taekwondo. I tell people it's kind of like religion. You know, you have like Christianity, and then you have all these like branches. So you have like Taekwondo, and you have all these like branches.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
So there's like ITF style, there's like ATA style, and there's like WT style. There's like a bunch of different styles. You got all these different styles that people.
Do you know how many styles there are, or is it
I have
just
no
like
idea.
infinite? Just whatever people make up.
But
the quack style.
The quack style. Yeah, we just go like. Taekwondo is actually recognized in the Olympics. So one of the biggest styles is WT.
W2?
WT. World Taekwondo Star.
W2 is a tax form.
W2 Taekwondo. It used to be World Taekwondo Federation, but you can't call it WT. Yeah, exactly. You think of Taekwondo and you probably think of like
forms.
Right? Forms. All these martial arts were used in like combat or like war. Back in the day, every different country before we had like with like
just arms.
So you got like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they're on the floor, they're grappling on the ground combat. You got like Muay Thai in like Thailand. They have like really strong like kicks and Muay Thai. You got like boxing. You got different types of boxing. You got capoeira. And then we got like Kung Fu, you know, you see in the movies, like Karate Kid, he's like, Mr. Han, like, it's Kung Fu. And they're like, shh, right? Taekwondo is very much like, very straightforward and rigid. In modern Taekwondo, it's not so much self-defense, it's more of a sport. But you could practice the traditional elements where there's a lot more like combat. It could be a sport, it could be performative, it could be self-defense, but there are many different martial arts and many different like variations in the way they do it. So there's a lot.
So in actual competing stuff, you don't really do the ones you do on your TikTok?
No.
No.
And it's hard to show the competing stuff because it could be a little bland. If you know, you know, right? There are a lot of moments where it gets really exciting, they're fighting, but a lot of times it's a lot of just like, because everyone's so good, it's very close. It's like, oh, like that.
I feel like this.
Oh, yeah, like that.
I just run away.
Exactly. So, you can't really show that on TikTok because you can be like, so it's a little harder to do that.
Let's go on our booty cheeks.
Booty cheeks?
Did you coach kids? Where you're like, let's do butterfly.
Yeah, let's do butterfly, guys.
Where do you guys want to fly to?
Oh, I didn't do that.
Oh, you didn't know what you
No.
do?
I was like, flap your wings.
Flap your wings. Where would you like to fly to?
Let's fly to the Grand Canyon. Can we fly over the Grand Canyon?
Fly to the Grand Canyon?
Whoa!
Whoa. I'm a butterfly.
Oh, it's a bird!
Wait!
You know, fun fact, Taekwondo is the most practiced martial art in the world. It's really popular in other countries. My theory is that there's a lot of Olympians in these other countries that do well. And the Taekwondo world, nobody really dominates the Olympics.
That's
like,
really good.
There's really good representatives from like everywhere. We have, I know an Olympian from like Ireland, he's representing Ireland. We have like Serbia, we have, you know, the UK. The UK was dominating for a while. We had Mexico, like you name it, they'll be on the podium. Brazil, Mexico, Canada, you know, so I think that inspires a lot of people to do the sport in that country. I think in the US we're desensitized because every Olympics we bring like 50 medals. But in some countries where, you know, you only have 3 medals from your entire Olympic pool and one of them is Taekwondo, it's really inspiring. One of the reasons why it's such a big martial art. It's a big sport.
Jealous.
If you think of like sports in the Olympics, there's not that many. There's like judo, boxing, Taekwondo. They don't have a lot of ones because there's a lot of rules and regulations, and that's why they're constantly changing them. They're trying to make them really good. So.
Wasn't there a lot of talk about Taekwondo being removed from the Olympics at some point?
I think so. There's like a lot of push and pull. We're not an NCAA collegiate sport, and there's a lot of talk of putting them in the US. So, but around the world, like the university games, it's a big deal.
Yeah. No, because for rhythmic gymnastics, obviously way different from Taekwondo where like barely people know about it in the US. It's very much like a Russian, like former Soviet Union type of sport. Like it dominates over in Europe more. So like over here nobody knows about it, obviously, because we don't bring home Olympic medals. We just bring home nothing. So like even like in the US, not a lot of girls like actually like compete while they're in college. Like it was very few. Like while I was competing, like I was the only one like actively going to college. But I never went to university games, so I'm living my dreams through Derrick. He'll be vlogging it, so make sure you check out his channel. Let's do this because that was a long time.
It's hard though. I mean, when you don't have it like in the schools and stuff, there's not that much support.
Yeah.
You have to pay your way to go around.
Like
if you want to stand out on an international stage, you have to invest like your entire life, and it's hard when you don't have support.
Yeah.
You know, these people in other countries, they get paid to do it.
You go to like international competitions, right?
Yes.
How is it assigned? Like for rhythmic gymnastics, sometimes it's based on ranking, sometimes like the committee just chooses a person.
I think over the years it changed a lot, to be honest. Back in the day, it's like whoever wins nationals makes a team and goes, or they'll have like a special like team tryout tournament where if you win, you get to go. You just win the tournament, you get to go. So people would like fly out and train for those. But you would have like a world team, and they'll like put it together. Like if you win this tournament, you got to go to Worlds, and everyone would go. And then it started changing a bit where either the national team sends you to rep the US, or you would win a tournament and you would make the team to go represent. So when I just made the collegiate team right now, the procedure was if you win collegiate nationals. If you win the Summer World University Game Trials, then you get to go. And that's what I did, and I went and won the tournament. Things like World Championships, they'll have like an actual national team, and the way they pick that is a little different these days. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's based off ranking and maybe like the way you fight and stuff like that. So.
Like for rhythmic gymnastics, it's mainly out of pocket for us. Like we'll pay for our flights, we'll pay for our hotel. Maybe like the federation will pay for like the competition fee, but how is it for you guys?
It's around the same. We don't have that much funding, especially when you're a junior. They would maybe pay for your flight, but then like everything else you pay for, or maybe they'll just pay for your lodging and you stay in like a camp or something. What people would do though is, there's a lot of different organizations that were not the national team, such as the AAU, like Amateur Athlete Union, or maybe California State. You go and win these tournaments and you'll win a trip somewhere. So a lot of people got their funding from making travel teams. So if you want an AAU team, which a lot of people on the national team did, they would send you on one trip to maybe Europe. I went to the German Open, Spanish Open, or they'll send you to like Southern America, or somewhere like that. You know, I made the California State team many years, right? And they'll send us to Mexico. I made the Mexican American team, the EME team.
Mexican American team?
And I represented California to go compete at like Mexico, like this like Baja tournament. So we wanted to go as much as we can, get as much experience as we can, while being cost efficient. So a lot of people, they would do is they would go win these like travel teams, and they would represent like California, or they'll go represent like the AAU union for a free trip, because the actual organization did not really fund
not much money.
They would send you gear, and it's more like prestigious and reputable. So that's like Team USA, but you know, everyone would make the knockoff teams,
knockoff uniforms.
Yeah, but it was worth it, especially when you want to get better on the international stage. Because it's very different.
So different. Yeah.
It's so different.
Your glutes are really flexible, actually.
We do a lot of like.
Oh, that makes sense. Going back to like the NCAA situation, I remember for me, I went to the dean and I was like, hey, can I get an excuse absent for these days because I'm gonna be representing the country? And then he's like, sorry, you're not a student athlete, we can't do anything about it, you're not representing Georgia Tech. And I'm like, USA, Georgia Tech. USA, Georgia Tech.
That's so messed up. You're also representing the school too.
It was like no support, like nobody sees you as a student athlete, you don't get like extra of those tutoring sessions. Unless like your professor's like very cooperative.
I think student athletes that are not in the mainstream sports, like, you know, your D1 football, need more love. I felt so seen when I went to the athletic directors, and you know, we have a great facility and they let me use it all, and they said like, you know, you're an athlete, you dedicate as much time as anyone else to do it. And it's so true. We train just as much and just as hard as like pro athletes, when we are literally also pro athletes. I didn't realize how unloved we were. Unloved.
Like not mainstream.
Not mainstream. US. Money is a lot. Like this, just the support will do so much.
Because rhythmic gymnastics is also a minor sport, right? It's really hard to keep continuing my sport because like you don't make any money out of it. Or if you do, it's like very small and not enough for a living. While like these major sports, they have a lot of funding because of how popular they are, how much like merch they sell, how much ticket sales they get. But they are like such a big amount for like, you know, working hard. Just because we chose different sports, our end is different.
Most people have to quit college, especially when you dedicate all this time and maybe you don't even make the team. Maybe you're always second or third. You have to come to a point where like, can I even keep doing this? And it's a catch-22 because then you lose all your great athletes and then you don't perform as well as a nation on the international stage. And then, you know, our sport doesn't really receive that much attention because we're not winning as much. You know, if we have more support, we probably perform better, we probably garner more attention. You know, I feel like we would be so much stronger if we had so much more love. More people would care. It's so difficult. Most athletes meet their end around college because you have to start thinking about your future and like making a living. You know, this sport drains your pockets and you have to really decide whether or not to keep doing it. Emotionally.
We're opening up.
Opening up.
Welcome to the Open Up episode.
Oh, I get it.
We're just gonna do straddle and then
Okay.
we're gonna do some side
Oh,
stretches.
okay.
As you explained, your dad was like a master, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of similar situation to me where my mom was also my coach because she was like national team Olympic gymnast in Japan. So I wanted to like ask how your relationship was with your parent as your coach.
Honestly, it was really hard because you know, in competition and training, it gets really intense, and you go home and that intensity is still there, and
Yes.
you feel like you're training
Oh,
24/7.
yes.
It got a little better during a period of time where I actually was coached under someone else. He came back to coach me. To be honest, it's really draining. It's really taxing when you feel like you have to perform all the time, and you feel very conditional where if you don't perform or you don't, you know, meet some expectation in terms of like training regimen or attitude or all that kind of stuff, and you never get to be like authentic, where you don't get to relax. So in that aspect, it was really hard, especially when you want to live like a normal life outside of the sport that you do. Back when we were like, isn't this like everyone's life, right?
And then you learn that no, everybody else.
No, yeah, you learn that there's life, like there's actual life. It's hard to experience life when you have high aspirations, especially. You know, we were like, I remember one day my dad sat down with me, he's like, do you want to go to the Olympics? And I said, yeah. And you know, they have so much love for you. They're like, okay, well, here's what it takes, and you know, we're gonna do it. It kind of like muddies, you know, your relationship with the sport and with them, and a little bit. Me personally, so.
My mom also wanted to separate like practice training versus home environment, but it's really hard in reality when like this sort of like anger comes home with you, because they can't also just snap out of it once they get home. Like for me, I had a really bad relationship with my mom back in middle school. She was very like tiger mom. Like I know like now, like she wanted the best for me, but the only way she knew how was how she was coached, right, as a gymnast, and that was like negative feedback, right? Like, no, you're not doing it right. No, no, no. Just like the negativity really brought me down, where I was very like suicidal at some point. And then like she noticed that once I was like down in the low, and my dad was like, we should do more positive feedback that will actually help her out. And she started trying. Like my mom really tried to, for the best, because she wanted the best for me, she really tried to do the positive feedback. And then she started to understand, oh, this is actually helping Elena instead of the negative one. And then my mom actually like, she changed and started becoming a more like positive feedback type of person. That made me like get better, I guess, from this low point in my life.
Unfortunately, I think my coach was my dad, and he has a lot of personal demons, right? He would just double down on a lot of things, and this was like his kind of like passion. So he never got to do it when he grew up. He never had the funding or support, so you know, it's like kind of like
pushed your dreams on
living vicariously
Yeah.
through me, and you know, he never received the love. So you know, we were talking about like travel expenses and all that, like having someone to push you or support you. That was his support. I mean, he would pour his entire life to do that, and it got hard. The nature of competitive taekwondo is hard because it kind of gets controlling. We have to make weight for competitions, and it was really hard when you're at home, and you know, you would have to step on a scale every morning when you wake up. It's not even like good morning. It's like, get on the scale.
What's your weight?
You know, oh, you didn't lose weight. Go. I'm gonna go drop you off, and you're gonna run home, and then you can eat, but you can only eat this. You know, you're tired at home, and it's not even like, oh, are you okay? It's like, okay, we'll get the ice bath. It's just solutions. It's very like, you know, yeah, like, oh, you're not losing weight. Like, you're having like health problems. We'll take you to the doc. It's very like very literal. It's very sport oriented. Everything that you do. You know, you're not allowed to go skateboard with your friends. You can get injured. You're not allowed to. You can't hang out with your friends. You know, that time is meant for training. You go home, we go on vacation, and we train in the hotel. Before we go out, we'll go work out. We go to the gym in the morning together. You know, he'll yell at me in the gym in public, and then like it's stuff like that. So
he was very focused.
Very focused, very dedicated, and you know, it was his kind of dream. So I think he took he took a lot of inspiration of like things he've always wanted and he never got, and he really put it on to me.
Yeah.
So, you know, even when I was really going through it, kind of like you,
there was no support.
there was more. It was more of a like, you know, I did all this for you, and if you don't want it, then you know, then don't. As in like,
Get out.
get out. When
Yeah.
I grew up, I was actually so scared to even tell them that I didn't want to do it, because I knew that it wouldn't be received well, and I was kind of right, but you know, if I spoke up earlier, I think things would have been better, but I was just so scared as a kid, and I kind of held it in for years. So, you know, check in and make sure everything's okay,
Yeah.
or it could just, you know, bundle up and spiral out of control.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of parent coaches situations actually fail because of that. And like I said earlier, I think communication is really important. I think when you grow up, that's something you learn.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if you're a parent, then
Like,
you should open that line
yeah.
up for people to have that discussion, or there won't be one at
Because
all.
the kid doesn't know, right? And
Mhm.
can't really speak out about it until like, I feel like the parent or the like grown up should, because grown ups know now, you know, we have to communicate in order to understand each other.
And if you're a kid and you don't know whether or not, you should, I think it's good to try to talk and realize that your parents are just people too.
Yeah.
And
They're literally just
And
big
they can't
kids.
read your minds. Like, they really can't read your minds. And they're kind of just trying to do what's best for you. And I think if you feel like you should say something, I feel like you should say something.
All right, let's do a bridge. Ready? We can start from the floor. Oh, nice. At competition, I had rituals. Like, I was like, if I don't do this, I'm gonna do bad.
Yep.
Did you have anything like that?
Okay, so at competitions, I had to put my gear in a luggage, and I'll bring it to the holy room. And then I had like a Winnie the Pooh pillow pet. If I didn't bring, that was my good luck charm.
Winnie the Pooh pillow.
Winnie the Pooh pillow pet. Oh my gosh. Winnie the Pooh pillow pet, and I had like, I just sit there. And that's about it. I pulled up with the luggage, Winnie the Pooh pillow pet, sat there, and did my thing. Actually, we would weigh in. We would lose a lot of weight. A lot of my tournaments, I would lose like 15 pounds, like 10 pounds.
Jeez.
You know, as much as like 20 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
So that process is really hard, you know. And when you weigh in, my ritual, every single tournament, lasagna or like pasta, and then I'll get like a chocolate milk on fight day.
Oh.
Chocolate milk. So
Nice.
those were my things. I used to be a lasagna guy. Now I'm like a seafood pasta. What about you?
What about me? Oh my god. I had to have Subways.
Subway?
Black forest ham, American cheese toasted with olives, and all the other veggies. So we have to change into leotards. We're like training in like, you know, normal like workout clothes. 30 minutes before I compete, I change. We should go to the bathroom, right? I always use the second or the fourth one. If there's only 2 bathrooms, the second one. If there's a lot, I'll use the 4th bathroom. I also have like a page full of notes of all the techniques for everything I do in my routine. I have to read it. And then also like the night before, I just like imagine a perfect routine. And then like right before I go to the carpet, I started doing this around the end of my career. Like I was like, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And then I was in Korean class in college.
Oh really?
And we listened to this one song. It was like the crisis,
Oh.
something, so I don't know. And I was like, crisis. So I just kept doing that in my head.
When we put on our gear, so you go in your like uniform, and then you like gear up. And it's electronic, so they like. So after they time me, I would just go around, and I feel the mat. So around this, I go around, and I like. So you'll see me before the round starts. I just like kind of do this. People just walk, but I just like go around like this because I want to feel it. I would like move around, and then to get the nerves out, I would just be like this.
Whoa.
And then I'll go like this.
You're so flexible. Whoa.
And then I'll go like this.
Whoa. Whoa.
And then I'll just like move around again and do the same thing until it starts. It's like what people do. It's not like official, but before we fight, and then you look at the other the other coach, and you go like, everyone goes like, and then you get ready, and then they'll be like, 시작, and you'd be like, bah. Yeah, so bah. So that's how it starts. When I won, I used to go like,
I'm number one.
it's just so lame. It's so lame.
Fortnite
Like,
emo.
people are like,
Fortnite emo.
right? And I'm like,
Fortnite emo. Fortnite emo.
someone with being, he was like, and we're like, oh no, yeah. And we're like, oh, he was like, yeah. And we're like, oh.
How many injuries have you had?
I feel like if you don't get injured, you're not actually doing it, you know what I mean? All the time I would like roll an ankle. Those are like, you know, at that point it's normal. You bust a couple fingers and you get hit. Some of my biggest ones were I had like a tier 3 ankle sprain or tier 2. I had like a knee sprain. I was never at a point where I was fully healed. I was always injured somewhere. One of my worst ones though, on competition day, on first fight. It's not even from the kicks or anything. I kick him in the head.
My head.
And on my way down, I was like, super cool, right? I went, but I had to keep going. But you have a lot of adrenaline, so you don't really, it's just like, ow. And I'm just like fighting. And then like after the match is over, I'm like, oh no, like. So I had 2 more fights. And I go to the medic, and they can't tell you what's wrong either, right? So they just kind of like pop an Advil. The next fight, I'm like, I'm just like.
Oh, you have to maintain a poker face?
So I start fighting like this, like. And I'm like very technical at that point, right? Like, you don't know, but I'm only using my left leg, right? I actually ended up winning that tournament. And I got home and the doctor was like, you have 2 foot fractures. Like 2 in the same foot.
Oh my god.
So that means I fractured my toes. And then I continued to fight with a fractured toe for 2 more fights. I got an airport and they had to like wheelchair me. And it's always when the adrenaline's over. Like this past World University Games, I actually tore my hamstring a week before the competition. I wanted to keep it on the down low. Like I didn't tell anyone. Because people like, they find out. You don't want your opponent to know that you can't kick.
Yeah.
So I got there and I usually fight a lot more, but that tournament I was very like reserved. And people were like, oh, like does he suck now or something? Like, and I barely won. I won last second. Later I was like, guys, like,
look at this.
look at this.
Get into splits.
Oh!
When I got older, I did not look at scores. I did not care about rankings. As long as I'm having fun and I'm like proud of what I did, that's all you really need. Or else you just go into a downward spiral and then like just scrutinize every little thing you do. Quit if you're not enjoying it, to be honest, because then it's just not gonna be fun ever. Like you want to end it in a good note where you're like, oh, I really enjoyed this sport.
I feel like I'm ending it on a good note. World University Games.
I'm so jealous. That was like the one thing I wanted to go to.
So I'm really fortunate and blessed to be able to do what I want to do, but I was really obsessed with like building a new life. So you could go watch me get beat up on the world stage.
He'll win, guys. All right, we're gonna try. These are called just flipping clubs. I'm gonna do is watch first half and then half. Yeah, and then 1. Oh my god! Oh. And then double. Oh. Yeah, you're gonna use more wrist. Woo! Yeah, there you go. You're also a content creator now. When did you start doing content?
Okay, like I mentioned before, I had a really rigid life of training. I didn't really have time to like have fun. I didn't have that many friends my age, really. I just watched over kids all the time. My personality was very camp counselor. Around the clock, I just hung around kids and made a lot of like dad jokes and like, hey guys, like said something really dumb, like a pun. My sister had TikTok, so I saw her do like the old dances. To be an annoying older brother, I made one too. And I started TikTok without any Taekwondo because that was kind of like trauma. It was kind of like my escape, so I started with jokes. I retired, I came back from the sports university in Korea and I moved back to America and I was in community college trying to transfer, and during that time I was working full-time at the Taekwondo dojo. I wasn't competing, but I was just kind of working with the kids and stuff and just studying. It was honestly a lot of fun. So I just did all the trends and made a lot of jokes, and then I started really small. 50 followers, I was like, 50 followers, 100 followers. Yeah, like 1,000. Oh my god, thank you everyone for 1,000 followers. So happy, right? Yeah. Honestly, I was pretty lonely. And then I found out, like as a niche, nobody made Konglish jokes. So I started making like Korean American jokes. Dances. I did that in Korea because I'm actually not fluent. So to help me memorize, I'll make a lot of mnemonic devices to just remember words or phrases. Oh, 고마워. That's basically what got me like going. I started going on like subtle Asian traits and stuff like that.
I was a big fan.
I went from 10,000 followers to 50,000 followers in like a week. And then 50,000 to 100,000 in another week. I was going like super viral. And I was like, oh my god.
You were. I was following.
And it's funny because I didn't do any Taekwondo back then at all. I reached around maybe like 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, and then I ran out of jokes.
Oh.
like at that point, I was posting every day. So like it was like almost 2 years. Yeah. So that's like 600 jokes. Like there's so many jokes. There's just so many jokes, right? My content got really out of hand too. I was making like out of pocket humor. I got like violations.
Oh really?
Like, hi guys, what's up? But unfortunately, during that time, our family business took a big hit, like the Taekwondo dojo, and things got really tough. I got to like 600,000 followers, something like that. Ended up having to stop Taekwondo altogether. I didn't have a place to train. I made most of my content at the dojo, so I didn't have a place to film. I moved to LA. I had a really bad relationship with Taekwondo. At that point, I was doing Taekwondo content, so it was like hard to do it. It was hard to be happy on camera when you're not really happy in person. So I think your self-image really reflects when you make content. So around the time I actually took a huge break. I would make a joke, wouldn't even post it because I'd just be like, I don't actually believe in it. Like I used to make jokes and actually laugh like so much. Like I'd be so happy. And then at that point I was making jokes and I was just like, this is so fake, why would I post this, right? So then I just like streamed a little bit.
Oh my god, I have a beautiful snippet of the stream.
Elena joined my stream when I was hot tub streaming.
Oh, it was so funny. It was great. He was having a hot tub thing, he had a little bikini on.
So yeah, back then I would do stuff like that. And I got into UCLA. And back when I was talking about like I wanted to change my life, I decided like, you know what, I'll put everything behind me, everything that I've been doing, and just like live a normal college life. So I quit. I quit content, quit Taekwondo. The dojo, I kind of just was living my entire like own life. So I was just living my normal life, and I think that was really good for me. Making actual friends in real life was so hard for me. During that time, Elena hit me up. She was like, oh my god, Andrew. Huh? I was like, hi Elena. She was like, and I was like, hi, I'm Derrick.
Different glasses.
And she literally was like, you're not Derrick. And she's like, you were the hot tub streamer. No, I'm trying to live a normal life. Normal life. I put that behind me. And then one day she messaged me and she was like, do you want to collab? And I was like, collab? I haven't even posted in like a year. What is there to collab with? How do you even remember me? And I don't think she even knew that I was like retired. I was going through it. She was like, where do you train? I was like, I don't talk about it.
Yeah, I was like, oh. I love his content. It made me laugh so much. And even like the Taekwondo stuff was like so cool, and I was just like respected you a lot.
This is what she did to me. And I was like, dang, like I don't feel cool. I like went home.
You're really cool.
I went home and I was like, oh my god, fine. Yeah, I started again. Then that's literally why I started again that day, by the way.
Thank you. I'm so happy. No, I really love your content, so that's oh my god, I'm so happy he does content. Woo! Thank you for watching our episode of Open Up with Derrick Kwok. Don't forget to follow him all his socials. I'll link the university games down below so we can all watch it. You know, go support Derrick. He's amazing. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes of Open Up and just dope things, you know? Why be simple when you can be dope? I can't. Thank you, Derrick, for joining our episode of Open Up.
This might be a stretch, but maybe I'll see you next time.
Komawo.